Hi guys, it's Marissa from Grow in the Flow, and I'm popping in here on Monday afternoon ahead of the full moon in Pisces that is peaking at just about 7:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. So we have this very powerful, very emotional, watery full moon in Pisces coming. We've already been feeling the effects, of course. We are deeply into it now. So I wanted to pop on here and pull a couple of cards, tune into the collective energies around the full moon. And I'm also going to pull an oracle message for us as we move forward, because this is a very big week energetically, astrologically. There's a lot going on. Of course, we have this full moon here, and then right beyond that we have the equinoxes. Whether you are in the northern or southern hemisphere, we'll be having the autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere or the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere. So, at the changing of seasons, of course, as well, there's always a lot of shifting and energy moving around that. And then we have Mercury retrograde. So there is a lot happening, and this is a time to be gentle with yourselves. This can be, it's deep emotions bubbling up to the surface, and so just being gentle with yourself, taking time out to rest and do whatever helps you to settle, whether that be meditating, taking a walk, journaling, just quieting, breathing, just laying for a little while and just kind of connecting within. But I'm also bringing in the energies of the water element here with this water elemental spray by Angelic Celestial Colors, just helping us to really get into the flow of the water, of course, being emotion, and understanding that, it can be overwhelming as things bubble up, but also that water element helps us to be fluid and staying in flow and moving through, flowing through, what is coming up for us. With that, I'm also bringing in the spiritual protection so that, as a full moon comes up and shines a light on things that may have been in shadow, things that have lain dormant, emotional things that can be coming up to the surface, knowing that we are protected. We're divinely protected and guided through this process. And with things bubbling up, it's very interesting because the energies around this full moon in Pisces harken back to the new moon in Pisces, which was actually in March. So the guidance has been to look back to whatever was going on around you in March, situations, emotions, different circumstances that could have been coming up at that time, and taking a look at, how that is coming up for you now. And so, of course, I took a look and I looked back at March, and I, in fact, wrote a blog post on March 20th, 6 months ago today, and I was writing about the fact that I woke up to the news that there was a volcano that had erupted in Iceland, and the symbolism that was coming up, because at that time it was Aries season. March 20th, we had just talked about Aries season, the divine masculine, the fire energy, and the symbolism of a volcano erupting and, things bubbling up under the surface and coming out. And sure enough, I woke up this morning to the news that another volcano had erupted in the world today, 6 months later to the day. So quite interesting that Mother Nature is also having this echo back to the energies that were present in March at the new moon in Pisces. So I am going to put in the link in my bio. I'll post that blog post again where it's easy to find in case you're interested in taking a look at what was coming up. There was a quick collective reading and other guidance that came up at that time that may help you to kind of tune into what may have been going on for you personally back in March. And you may notice, those synchronicities and connections coming up here. Okay, so I'll put that out there, but let's tune in here. We have the Moonology card for the full moon in Pisces that's talking about balancing spirituality and practicality. And so I'm also going to be using the Queen of the Moon Oracle to get 3 cards for the full moon. We have 3 different positions we're looking at with a quick full moon spread. The first one being what is falling away? What is coming up for me to forgive? Of course, full moons being about that release and letting go, forgiveness. So we'll get one card for that, and one for what the illuminated full moon is showing me. So what is that illuminating? And then we have what comes next beyond this full moon, and as we continue to move through all of that strong energetic and astrological energy that is present at this time. So let's take a look. Planning to keep this IGTV friendly, otherwise I will pop it on my YouTube channel. Okay, so quite a popular word that has been going around that is such a key part of the soul growth and lessons that are going on for humanity right now, for the collective, is discernment. So when we talk about what is this full moon bringing up that is falling away, what do I need to forgive? Interesting that this card shows an inability to physically see. It's clouded. It's cloudy. There's a lack of clarity when it comes to perhaps the lenses people are viewing things through, or the perceptions that they have. There's a cloudiness, and then there's also, again, activity going on in the solar plexus. And that brings us back to that yellow energy that I've been talking about the last couple of weeks, about yellow showing up in its more positive or lower, higher vibrational form of joy, courage, empowerment, or in the lower vibrational energy of fear, anxiety, worry, disempowerment. So, we're kind of we're in a holding pattern in that space. For collective readings, of course, we're tapping into universal energies. So there's aspects that are going to relate to us personally more than others. We can always take what resonates and leave the rest. But we're just kind of looking at the overarching energy. So I think we're going to see a lot of collective big stage stuff come up here, but then try to bring it into how it might be applying in your life personally. You may be finding that you are unclear on things, that it's difficult to see clearly, or even to get a good read with your gut, with what the right way is to go. The weekend energies brought up a helpless and hopeless energy that showed two different paths, and confusion around which one to take, or maybe being unsettled with the options that were being given. So we're seeing that come up and kind of being highlighted here in a way that is calling for discernment. And as I say that, my ear is starting to ring. Definitely feels like this is very key to, when we talk about forgiveness, recognizing that everyone is coming to the plate looking through their individual lenses with their perceptions, which is a culmination of their experiences, their awarenesses, where they are consciously. And so, there's a call for forgiveness there, to view that from a lens of compassion and understanding that I'm really picking up on. But I want to keep going so we can take a look at what each of these cards are showing and then see where we land. So what is the illuminated full moon showing me? We have this growth card. Now, this is again calling to the need to get grounded, to rooting in, to really taking time to ground ourselves when we are, in the presence of such this cloudy, unanchored sort of, elusive energy that's sort of blowing around, very much so the air element. There's this opportunity to really ground in, to root in, and anchor into the earth, spending time in nature, connecting in, so that when we do feel like, untethered and sort of lost and floating around, unclear on things, that this helps us to come back to center and know that this is the ultimate truth at all times, no matter what is blowing in, whatever the wind is blowing in today, whatever the current narrative is, or whatever, the current line is that you're seeing, and things that are vying for your buy-in, whatever that may be, things that you need to use your discernment in order to, determine how you are going to engage them, or if you're going to engage them at all. This is this anchored in place that you can come back to really connect into your truth. So the full moon is again showing that, no matter what the energies are, that are bubbling up, the emotions that are bubbling up, that we can really connect in. But the other thing I'm seeing too here is there's this pocket watch that's showing again a need for patience. Things are not moving quickly or maybe resolving as quickly as we would like them to, or clearing up as quickly. There could be things that you're waiting on, that you're waiting to come to fruition. Some time and patience is needed to allow for that divine timing. Thinking about how long it takes for a tree to build its root system, to really become established and anchored into the ground, to give it that firm base, that firm foundation, is something that does take time. And of course, the movement through those seasons and so forth in order to get there. So when we get there, we're talking about what comes next. And this is a beautiful card of gratitude, of reconnection here. And I love that their hands are physically touching. There's this sign of a coming together and embracing. And also, it's implied here, if you can see it on the camera, one hand looks a little younger and one hand looks a little more mature, we'll say. And so it's showing this bridging of two different generations, the coming together of perhaps two different times and places that are able to come together in this beautiful way. And I love how it's a field of wildflowers. So it's like blooming where we're planted, wherever that may be, and understanding that it's many and varied different flowers in the garden, that all grow in different ways and different conditions, but yet they're all beautiful flowers. Now, one of the things I always say about this card too is that this reminds me of a lemon wedge. It comes up on the camera that way too. When you look at that moon, it just reminds me of a lemon wedge. So it always brings to mind the idea of alchemizing, making the lemons into lemonade, taking circumstances that might be happening around you in your life personally, situations that you see happening on the world stage that are pretty sour, that are bringing that lemon energy. And yet, how can we have gratitude for the sourest, the most acidic of circumstances and alchemize it into something as refreshing as, say, lemonade, making those lemons into lemonade. And then also, lemons, while being acidic, are actually alkaline in the body. So that always gives me a little nod to the message of thinking about what you are ingesting, and wanting it to be, we know for our physical bodies that having a more alkaline diet is better for our health, that having an acidic diet creates a hospitable environment for disease or dis-ease in the body. Well, likewise, when we talk about our spiritual diet and we talk about what we are taking in, focusing on a more alkalizing spiritual diet. We want to bring in things that are alkalizing, things that lift us up, that are of a higher vibration. Because if we're ingesting a lot of acidic things in our spiritual diet, we know that that's creating an environment that's hospitable to that lower vibrational, more dense energy that is not going to be bringing in the uplifting, higher vibrational ascension type energy that we are looking to move into, So that's my little lemon wedge message that comes up with this card, that, that there's increasing opportunity for us to see moments of gratitude, of blessing within the difficult, challenging circumstances and situations that we may find ourselves in. So again, yes, there's emotion, and yes, there's things coming up that are, still clouded, shrouded, unclear, calling for discernment. But we go back to this internal process of going within, getting grounded, rooting in, and having gratitude and connection in that way. And so now I'm just going to pull an oracle card here from the Whispers of the Ocean, which is a gorgeous deck, and I just was inspired to use it with that Pisces energy just to get a final message for us in this full moon. Okay. Life is better together. Seek assistance from your community. Connect with family, friends, or others who will support you. It can be as simple as making a phone call. So yes, connection or reconnection. Understanding that we are so much better together, unified as one, and connecting, that the things that unite us is so much more powerful than those things that divide us. And so, you know, in all of this emotion and energies that are bubbling up to the surface, the volcanic symbolism of that divine masculine, that fire energy, Mother Earth, you know, erupting and releasing some of that energy out, we are reminded that we are all one and that we are at our best when we are together. So that is a beautiful message here from the Oracle. And also, of course, that reconnection and that alchemizing of that divide. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm hoping that this is still in time for posting on IGTV. Otherwise, I will catch you on YouTube. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. There's always info in the link in my bio if you're interested in a private reading or healing. All of my offerings are on my website. So I'm sending you so much love, many blessings, and wishing you a beautiful, transformative full moon in Pisces. Till next time, take care.